Good morning, everybody. I am here with the Sparrow Design House team. We love their work, and we are thrilled that they've taken a little bit of time to chat about it with us this morning. So would you guys introduce yourselves?
Yeah, of course. We are Colleen
and Jen, Sparrow Design House.
We are a residential design firm in Charleston, South Carolina.
Nice. And I am still waiting for an invitation to Charleston from somebody. Maybe it'll be you guys, because I've never been.
Consider yourselves invited. You have an open invitation.
Are you both natives of Charleston?
Neither
Okay.
of us are natives. We've each been here a little over 10 years. So not
Nice.
Natives, but been here a bit of time.
And do you love it, or?
Yeah, we love Charleston. Is a beautiful place to live. It's ideal. It's
Can't beat the weather. We both grew up in very cold climates, so the weather in Charleston is perfection.
lots of charm, lots of beautiful architecture and inspiration throughout the city and islands. It's a nice mix of all the things.
Nice. Well, I share that background of growing up in a really cold place, but I haven't quite made it to a place with wonderful weather yet. So maybe someday.
You love it. If you came to visit, like most people, somehow they seem to visit once and then they immediately want to move here. Yeah.
The secret is out of the bag.
Yeah, it sure is.
Did you want us to put it back in the bag? We can clip this part out if you don't.
Yeah, it's too crowded here.
We're full.
All right. Well, I wanted to get started by just asking you a little bit about how you started your business. Just tell us kind of a little bit of how it works and how it got started.
Yeah, of course. Well, funny you mentioned so Charleston is actually an area that is very saturated with interior designers, interior design businesses and firms. So it took a lot of grit and hustle to sort of make it here. So from the beginning, Jen and I just sort of focused on building our brand around three pillars: authenticity, functionality, and personal connection. So instead of chasing trends, we leaned into sort of what made us different, our ability to connect with our clients and interpret their needs in ways that felt intuitive, and just to create beautiful spaces that tell their story. So
carving a path as a new firm, it really meant taking risks and trusting our vision and saying yes, even when we didn't feel ready. And
each project sort of became a stepping stone for us, right? Through word of mouth. We just gained momentum and that's sort of how it got started for us.
I might take you slightly off track here. Did you say yes to anything you wished in hindsight maybe you had said no to?
Oh, great question.
You know, there have been jobs that we've taken that may not have been, perfect or ideal jobs, but as a new firm, I think even the jobs that were like total doozies or that, we lost way too much sleep over, or maybe didn't gain a ton from, we did gain experience sort of just through trial and error, what not to do next time. So even if it wasn't the most positive experience, we took something from the project. So honestly, I don't want to speak for you, but I don't regret.
No, yeah, we've spoken about that. It's true. And even the projects that we have loved from start to finish, there's always something that we learn from them. So there's always a takeaway, no matter the client or the project.
Would you say that there's been a biggest learning out of one of those initial projects? Biggest takeaway?
Biggest learning.
I don't know if there's a biggest learning, but there's been impactful learning elements along the way. Communication with the client, I feel like we were pretty good at that, but there were moments when, made us decide every Friday is going to be our client reach out,
check in.
And then once we were like, okay, once a week, even if there's nothing to communicate, they still want to hear from us a little something. So
I would also say that probably one of the biggest lessons that I've learned has nothing to do with design. It's just our own value and being able to value the work that we do and not be afraid to charge accordingly for the skills and what we bring to the table.
Exactly.
That's been like a huge learning curve. So again, as a newer firm, I think you start somewhere feeling like, well, we're smaller. We need to prove ourselves in this sort of big, industry. But with every project, I think Jen and I get a little bit more comfortable in saying, yeah, like we deserve this.
Yeah, we should be paid. Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
I did take a couple of free projects, and I was okay with that. Free was fine. It was when you were being knowingly underpaid. I think that's the worst place to be.
You're right. And there's a
Absolutely.
big difference there between doing something pro bono for whatever reason versus just being underpaid, because underpaid means undervalued for the work that you're doing. Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
That's exactly right. Okay, well, actually, before we go into the project that we're going to talk about today that you submitted to us, which is beautiful, I did want to know, I think you guys are so lucky in that you have each other, and there are some people out there operating totally alone. So how'd you find each other, and how'd you know, like, this is going to be fun to do together?
Yeah. So, I mean, Jen and I sort of met at a later stage in life, but at sort of a local design showroom. And that's where we sort of decided that we'd kind of like to do this together. Like we were ready to make that sort of next step into a firm of our own. And I don't think either one of us would ever have imagined of doing this. At least, again, I'll speak for only myself, but I don't do well like working independent. I don't know that I don't do well, or working together as a team is just such a nice dynamic, being able to bounce ideas off each other. I think we each bring different things to the table.
Yes, it is. It makes going to work every day when you're working with a friend, a good friend, it just makes the day-to-day work grind, and we do grind. It makes it fun. And it's also motivating. You have those days where you wake up and, you have 10 loads of laundry or you just don't feel like working. But if you're beating your friend to work, it's encouraging, and we have fun when we work.
I feel like it makes things fun for our clients too. I think they sort of enjoy like, the dynamic and
absolutely.
Yeah, feeling to sort of a laid back approach to meetings with clients,
right?
Chatting things out. It doesn't feel stuffy or
forced. Yeah.
I'm pretty self-motivated, but I like what you said about keeping motivated. Like, you're definitely more motivated if you're in it with somebody, and I don't know, I would think I kind of don't want to disappoint my friend too. Like
absolutely.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
Well, and we all sort of bring strengths and weaknesses with us, right? So it's nice to be able to like fill in where the other, and if I'm focusing on a certain area of a design project or even just business development, that Jen's able to sort of work on something else simultaneously so that we're growing at a sort of more rapid rate, right, than if we were always doing everything together. So
covering more ground.
Yeah, we are definitely covering more ground. Two is better than one.
Yeah.
Are you saying then that your weakness is being able to zoom out and find the next project, and Jen's really good at that? Was that what you were indicating?
Not even so. Yeah, no, not even so.
Yeah.
I think about different like just project management, different aspects of projects.
We are our design philosophy and design aesthetic and style is very, very aligned, but our personalities are also aligned, but we have a few differences, and it works to our advantage, because perhaps when she's up here, I'm able to talk her off the ledge, and vice versa, whatever it may be. But it works.
Yeah, my brother and I started together about 10 years ago, and we had a lot of fights, and now we have several other colleagues, and it's very helpful because we were not always great at talking each other off the ledge.
Well, you're siblings. I feel
brothers,
like
have got to bring it, tenfold. That's
you're
a lot.
You're much more willing to say something awful to your sibling than to your friend.
No doubt.
So okay, let's focus on the project that you're in right now. Tell us a little bit about what was the initial like pitch from the client, and how you delivered what it is that they envisioned for themselves.
Sure. Yeah. The Riverside project was a fun one because it was a chance to redesign multiple spaces within a home that already had good bones, but just needed some new life breathed into it. So the home was about 10 years old, already had some lovely sort of architectural aspects to it. Flooring was good and solid. The condition of the home was good. It just needed new life breathed into it. And that's where Jen and I came in. So to ensure that each room sort of was its own space and yet flowed seamlessly into one another, we used a tone-on-tone aesthetic throughout. We sort of leaned into saturated neutrals, natural wood tones, layered textiles and art, and organic materials to really ground the space with warmth and authenticity.
Cool. My first job was working for a pretty well-known designer who loves color and handles it really well. But consequently, I love these sort of tone-on-tone palettes, but it's hard for me to think in those terms because I always think, okay, like we need this color saturation and then this sort of disparate color over here. And now I think, oh, I do like these sort of quieter rooms, but I don't have the confidence. I know a lot of people think bright color takes confidence, but I don't know. I think it's
You feel hard. The opposite.
I'm afraid that my tone-on-tone sensibility is not up to snuff. So
no, you might surprise yourself. Yeah,
maybe I will.
For the tone-on-tones, we add a lot of texture. So I think adding a lot of texture with the tone-on-tone, more serene palettes is a way to help
break it up.
Yeah, break everything up.
Keep it interesting for sure. Yeah.
Is that
not to say that it's all our designs are super neutral and tonal. We certainly can embrace some color and do quite regularly, but this particular project, that's what it called for.
Yeah, well, and I do think the project does still look colorful and alive, even though it is a little sedate. Is that kind of are your clients in Charleston comfortable with that quieter palette pretty frequently, or what is someone coming to you color-wise for?
Right. Well, another interesting question.
Yeah.
I would say Jen and I, while we're of course happy to design whatever sort of style that the client envisions, our portfolio definitely reads a little bit more traditional. There's definitely some rustic aspects. I feel like that type of client just tends to naturally find their way to us, gravitate towards us, whether they're on social media, they're following us on Instagram, maybe, I don't know, maybe they've come across our website and it does sort of stand apart from a lot of the sort of coastal design that you see throughout this area. I want to say a lot of it looks the same, but a lot of it looks the same.
It does look the same. And to speak to that, I feel like, a handful of years ago, the majority of people did want that typical quintessential coastal look. Yeah. But I think we're seeing over the past maybe year or so, at least, more clients are coming to us and right out the gate, they're saying, we don't want that. And that makes us happy because we...
That's so good. Yeah.
It's the client that we tend to attract. And should someone come and ask us to design their house with coastal design, we're happy to do so. Absolutely. Also.
We don't want to weed those clients out for you.
But we don't. But you're right though. You do tend to attract what you put out there, and our portfolio reads as such. So
yeah. But we've gotten a good amount of clients that do want the coastal look. So I think they just hopefully they can see or trust that we can design, like Colleen said, whatever it is that they're looking to design. We can accomplish that for them.
Or perhaps just room for a little blend of the design.
We'll always try.
I actually find it can be pretty fun to work for somebody whose aesthetic is really different from yours. If it's still a good aesthetic, you can learn from them and they learn from you, and that can be fun.
Absolutely.
So tell us what kind of family lives in this space? What were you accommodating for?
So this was a family with 3 older children, 2 teens, one off to college, one about to go to college, and sort of a middle schooler. So able to sort of remove some of the sort of more, aspects of the drop zones, like some of the aspects that we're designing in our younger family. So we were able to sort of
toy storage and
it's not the same type of storage. And we were able to also give the clients, the adult clients, have the house sort of reflect this new stage that they're at in life and what sort of really spoke more to them. It's different time.
Were they excited about that? Were they sad to see their kids like growing up and leaving them, or like can't wait, push them out the door?
I think a combination of the two. I think a combination of two, but I think it's a stage of life where clients are sort of excited to get back to sort of what speaks to them and what feels right for them, their own identity. When as parents, you live so much of your life for your kids, and your home reflects that.
Right. And I think a lot of clients that do come to us and have little kids, they don't want to invest in, they want to invest in key pieces, but they don't want to sink a ton of money into all areas of their home because they have little kids. But as the kids get older and maybe, one flies the coop and the kids are a little bit, older, more mature, they're willing to invest even more so in their home and in the design. And that for us opens up.
And the needs, it's true. And their needs with the younger families, just piggybacking on that, like there's actually no basements. Nobody has basements in Charleston. So, I grew up with like my parents would send me down to the basement to play. But, most folks are turning like bonus rooms into play areas for their kids. I think I mentioned drop zones. Those are very important, and just keeping like organization for school and sports and that sort of thing. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say they send you down to the basement when you're punished.
Maybe that too.
No, I totally identify with that. Not in my house, but literally in every other friend I had. It was like we weren't allowed up out of the basement until we were 19 years old.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, I do have one more question, maybe before we get to the question that's Daniel House Club focused. Do you think there's a key problem your clients are consistently coming to you to solve, or is it pretty varied from client to client?
I think most clients come to us with sort of a clear idea of whether it's a vision for their project, how they want their house to look, or even maybe how they want it to feel, but they just don't know where to start. They don't know where to start. Pulling the pieces all together is very overwhelming. So that's where we come in. Yeah, it's just about
guiding them through the process, from the initial concept to completion. And some clients want to be a part of that, and other clients just are very overwhelmed, want to step out and let us handle everything.
And as designers, we're always excited to bring something a little new, a little unexpected to a project, maybe more than what they asked for in the first place, just because of, whatever we see in that sort of initial consultation. But ultimately, it's about bringing their vision to life. Yeah.
Cool. And are you always helping your clients all the way until, it's turnkey ready for them to be in? Or do you take slightly varied types who maybe just need a little bit of consulting along the way, or is it always sort of a turnkey process?
That's a good question.
Yeah, go ahead.
We do both. We do full service design, which is exactly what you said, from concept to completion. We do e-design, so that's sort of, we take it to the concepts. We do concepts with weather links. That's been a game changer since Daniel House Club. We're able to send off.
That's why I asked
direct link.
For
sure, because when we're able, the idea of being able to send even e-design or designer for a day client, like trade only options, has been it's not a joke. It's been a game changer for
sure.
Our firm. So clients love that.
It was honestly a game changer for me. I used to be, if you get someone who has $25,000 to spend, it's very difficult to take them as a client, because you're like, I'm not going to make money on that. But when suddenly you have this as a resource, you can, and you can be
absolutely
and just help them a little bit through the design process and then give them the keys. I'm glad you're finding it helpful too.
Right. They're in charge of the ordering. They can hand the delivery right to their house. Like if we create a floor plan for them, it's pretty seamless, concept for them to sort of follow along, or plan to follow along. Right.
Well, you helped me not ask the question in such a blatant way, but I will. Let's just drill down. Are there other ways Daniel House Club is helping you in all types of work that you do?
Yes, I mean, you guys have been instrumental in many, many ways, and some of them we just highlighted, but you just made the whole process be pretty seamless. And, you streamlined the procurement portion of the process by providing an extensive catalog of quality trade furnishings,
no doubt,
all in one place. Like Colleen said, we love that we're able to create and save client project boards, that items can be shipped to our receiver or directly to the client,
depending on the service that we're providing.
Right.
Yeah. And do you think you're more profitable in procurement now, or is it just a streamlining? That's a question I can edit out if it's
a good question.
No, fair enough. Well, as a design firm that doesn't have a storefront, it's obviously not straight across the board for all vendors. So different, vendor profit margins are different, of course. But for the most part, I think we're able to make bigger margins through Daniel House and streamline the process. I think it's just been like a double win-win situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it also makes our total design process quicker because of what you've been able to offer designers. So therefore, if we're able to cover more ground, essentially we profit more.
Yeah, you can take on more projects and keep
absolutely.
And any items that we've not been able, that are not currently on your website, like your concierge team has been absolutely wonderful. Almost every item that we've requested that is not currently on your website, we request is literally within 48 hours, it's available. Mm-hmm. It's so helpful.
I love that. We love our concierge team. I don't know if we told you, but somebody recently thought that they were bots, and we were like, no, they're real people. Oh my gosh,
that's fun.
Call them, please. They're here to help you.
You have a lovely team. Yeah, you should be proud of your team.
And, in a day and age where it really is hard to get a human being on the phone, not only can we get you guys on the phone, but if we don't get you on the phone, you always call us back within 24 hours. And it's very helpful. And we very much appreciate that. Again, in the day and age when you can't get a human being on the phone.
Yeah. Well, that is because Alex, my brother, and I started as a design firm ourselves, and we used to sit in our office just shaking our hands, why won't you get back to me? I'm trying to get something from you.
You guys have troubleshooted issues in the middle of an install, if something goes wrong. It's I love that. They got us.
So
above and beyond.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's great to get to know you both a little bit better. And any final words, or have we done a good job here?
You guys always do an excellent job. And any final words?
We have some really great projects in the works currently that we're excited about. So we would just say, any viewers, follow us along on social media for updates and final reveals. Yeah, it's just about our community supporting each other, right? And
yes,
that's what's also awesome about getting the High Point, connecting with other designers and just supporting one another. It makes the talks that we go to organize through Daniel House so beneficial to us.
Yes.
A great community to be part of.
No doubt.
Yeah. The community is so inspiring to keep going, I think, not that it's treasury, but it's helpful to have your pals in this community.
No doubt.
100%. Yes.
All right. Well, great talking with you both, and I can't wait to learn about your upcoming projects soon.
Yes.
So good to see you, Peter.